Girls, today we're going to talk about what an IRE statement is. Basically, an IRE statement it's an acronym for I, introduce the quote, R, rewrite the quote, and then E, explain the quote. So why is this important? Well, when you have to give a constructed response that needs to have evidence to back up your claim, what I want you to use is what is called IRE. So let's take a look at the book we've been reading, PACS, to explain how to back up your claim with evidence from the text, because that is our goal here. So the first question from Chapter 1 says, Sarah Pennybacker begins Chapter 1 by saying, the fox felt the car slow before the boy did, as he felt everything first. Why do you think she wanted the reader to know this? So, first of all, we need to make our claim, and I would really encourage you, and actually I want you to do this, have 4 colors when you are writing out your constructed response using an IRE statement. So our first response is our first answer, which we are now in 6th grade going to call this a claim. It's a statement that needs support. We're going to restate our answer here. The fox felt everything before the boy because the fox has excellent senses. Okay, so this is our claim that we're standing on. So if you look back at IRE and our question, why do you think the reader wanted us to know this? Okay, our claim is that because the fox has excellent senses here. All right, so when we look back here, we did this in red. That's our answer. Now, you have to give evidence from the text. Before you give evidence from the text, you need to introduce the quote. That's simply the author states. So I want you to put that in green, the author states. Eventually, we'll change this to something a little bit more elaborate. We might say, for example, the author states. We might say on page 1 of PACS, the author states. But for right now, just know that the job of the green color is to introduce the quote. Next, we need to rewrite the quote, exactly what the author writes from the book. This is where you have to pull evidence from the text. So whatever your claim is, the quote has to support your claim. They have to be related. So going back here from the chapter, as I read through the first chapter, how do I know that the fox is more sensitive than the boy? Well, it says through the pads of his paws along his spine and the sensitive whiskers at his wrists. By the vibrations, he learned also that the road had grown coarser. Okay, so I'm going to take that quote and I'm just going to copy it. I'm not plagiarizing or anything because I'm saying the author states. I'm giving the author credit. That's why it's important we do the I in IRE. So the R in our IRE is rewrite the quote. So I did that through the paths of his paws, along his spine, and the sensitive whiskers at his wrist. By the vibrations, he learned that the road had grown coarser. Let's go back to IRE, the anchor chart. Now we need to explain the quote. Why did I use this quote to prove that the fox is more sensitive than the boy? And I want you to use these prompts. This quote proves because, or you could say these words show because. Let me give the example. This quote proves that the fox felt the car before the boy did, and the author wants us to know that the fox is more sensitive than the boy. The author might want us to know this because she might be using the information to foreshadow something that will happen later in the story. For example, the fox might protect the boy from something bad happening because the fox is sensitive to his surroundings. So notice how my purple, the explaining the quote, I'm really elaborating here. So what needs to happen in the end for IRE statement is that you need to realize that there are 4 parts when answering a question that needs evidence from the text. You must have your claim, which is in red. You need to introduce the quote, put that in green. And then you need to rewrite the quote, which is in blue. And then you need to explain the quote, which is in purple. So in the end, we have an IRE statement. We have make a claim, introduce the quote, rewrite the quote, and then explaining the quote. So please make sure that this all goes inside your Google Docs when you are making whatever chapter question you are on, whether it's chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, that you are heading those in Google Docs. Chapter 1, I just gave you the answer for chapter 1, IRE question. Chapter 2 would need a heading, chapter 3, so on and so forth.